When I was in high school, my 11th grade year, I had the opportunity to be a teacher aide. And so I worked with a second grade student, and the teacher, she bragged on me. She said the only time that he does any work is when you help him during the day. And I just fell in love with him. And and I had him my junior year and my senior year. So I told my mother, I said, I think I want to be a teacher that teaches children that need some help. I didn't know the name of it or anything. And she said, oh no, she said, you don't know what you're saying. And I said, well, I just enjoy being with him, you know. And, and I told her what the teacher said. Then later years, when I decided to return to school, to college, I was going to go into nursing because my senior year, I had been a candy striper at the hospital at Red Bay, and it was a full production hospital. I mean, babies were being born, an active emergency room, and we had several hospital beds, and I did that. And then when I volunteered 100 hours, then I was able to get my candy striper hat, and then I was hired when I turned 16 as a nurse's aide. So I had that background. But then when I was around 30, I decided to go back to college, and and then I had to decide, and I thought, well, I wanted to be a nurse because I loved that. Well, I started out in nursing, and I knew that I had a weak stomach, so I only made it through second semester of nursing. And then I had to decide, well, what am I going to do? And my niece was becoming a elementary teacher, and so I talked to her about education. And so she told me the different types of teachers. And so when she came to the special ed teacher, I said, that's what I want to be. And I remembered helping the second grader. And she said, well, now, are you sure? And I said, well, I think so. So I finished up at junior college, and I started the UNA, and I became a special education teacher. And then I was hired at Red Bay, and I've been there ever since. I think I had the drive early on from being a volunteer when I was a student. I loved going to school, and I guess I want everyone else to love going to school and love to learn. And so that just keeps me motivated. I'm sorry. A lot of times in working with children with disabilities, they do come from a lower socioeconomic background in our area. But then I also have students that are in the general ed classroom that they have needs. So, for instance, when I was senior sponsor as a teacher, and I was also junior sponsor. So I got to work with the students, and there would be times they could not afford to do the things, and your junior and senior year is so important because you have the junior prom, and then when you're a senior, there's a full list of activities because you have to put your quotes in the annual, then there's formal pictures, environmental pictures, and it's just a lot to comprehend that senior year especially. And then you have graduation. And so I try to help the children because they have to turn in their picture to the annual staff. And so I work with a photographer, and he can come to the school because we have great spots around the school that the student, they don't have to go anywhere special, but then yet they're getting a great picture made to put in the annual. And so just providing them with that experience. And then graduation, it's a more formal event where they do need a tie, and a lot of children do not own ties. So anyway, this past year, I furnished one with his shirt and tie and his khaki pants. And the day his cap and gown came in, they get to walk through the school, put him on walk through the school. So I just took my phone and I took him and walked him through the school and took his pictures as if he were my own child, because that's what I would want someone to do for my children. And he hugged me every time he saw me, and it just brought a lot of joy to him that he was the first one in his family to graduate. And so this, making this day special for him made it special for me. Well, I had to process it because I just thought, what does this mean? And then I cried because to be appreciated, it meant a lot to me.